I'm trying out this new Rode mic system. So let me know how the audio is sounding. If it sounds a little blown out or peaking or low or high, let me even know if the audio is working as well. New system, new way of going live. Also, I don't really go live via mobile. It's a new feature that YouTube rolled out that I want to go ahead and wanted to try out. So trying it out now with you guys. Hopefully there's some of you that are available. I put the alert out for the live kind of late, maybe about 15 minutes ago. And emails are just barely going out now. I just got a notification on my phone. So hopefully you guys start trickling in. If not, it's just going to be a talking head for the next 15, 20 minutes of me just rambling. Hope not, hopefully not, but go ahead and let your presence be known in here. Let me go ahead and see your guys' comments. I want to try to do more of these, what's there to talk about exactly. There's a good amount, and we're going to get to those things to talk about. Cool. What's up, Raffy Taffy? What's going on, guys? Good. Okay, you guys are trickling in now. Good stuff. So like I mentioned before you guys got on here, I'm trying out this new Rode mic system. I've been trying to incorporate it, and also too, like, to be honest, I've been needing to go live more with you guys on a consistent basis. So hopefully from August till like December, January, and from here on out, I'll be consistently doing a live chat with you guys where we just sit and BS and talk about what's happening. Just in everything. It doesn't have to be boxing. It could be anything. And I want to go ahead and interact with you guys and build a tighter, closer knit community amongst those that really have supported the channel, the growth of the channel through the 16 years that we've been around. We founded the channel. When I say we, me, with the help of many, many other people back around September of 2009, believe it or not. So, we've been at this for a long, long time. So, I want to go ahead and, do this to get closer with you guys, to connect with you guys as well. So, yeah, I'm going to try, man. I'm going to try this time around. I know during the pandemic, we were doing weekly lives on Mondays. It got a little difficult because the schedule started rolling out. There's starting to be more fights. And when the schedule's, crazy busy, it becomes difficult on my end, I still do a lot of the day-to-day here on Fight Hub, and my time gets pulled in so many different directions where, like, when I have free time, like, my brain is just, like, maxed out. Like, I just want to veg out and decompress from the stress of the day. So with that being said, man, let's go ahead and I'm going to read some of your guys' questions. Help me out, guys. Share this, hit the like button, and start, anything you guys want to talk about, anything you guys want to discuss as well, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll go ahead and shout you guys out. Hit that like. Over the weekend, we saw Floyd Mayweather, this Gotti exhibition. Also, too, let me know how the sound is with this new mic. I'm testing out this new microphone, and I want to know if it sounds like blown out or if it sounds too low or too high. I'm still messing with the gain on it to get like the optimal audio for it. So just let me know. Eliseo, what's up, man? Sounds good. Okay, that's good. All right, let's get to some of these questions, man. Erie Elliott, what's up, bro? What's going on? Where are you listening from, Erie? Let's see here. Alex, what's your favorite interview? Man, that's a good question. Not one in specific comes to mind, but the one person that I would say is my favorite person to interview, it'd be two people that, like, I really, really enjoy and look forward to interviewing. And it's funny because one of them, you guys might not know who it is. The other one, you'll be surprised because me and him got in a confrontation during a fight week back in 2013. That first person is Antonio McKee, who's an MMA fighter, never made it to the UFC, well known amongst the MMA circuit, but he's the father of AJ McKee, who's a current Bellator fighter. I believe he's the Bellator champion, if I'm not mistaken. But, dude, Tone's my guy. I love Tone. And we'd get into some of the most hilarious conversations on camera when we were rolling, to be honest. So, man, I love talking to that guy, honestly. And the other person that like I see and I smile and I just know like, hey, this, it doesn't matter how the interview is going to go. I just like being around this guy is Angel Garcia. Yeah, it's funny. One of our guys, Marcus Hayes, sent me the recording of me and Angel from that interview that we had back in 2013, the fight week. It was on a Tuesday or Wednesday of that fight. We was just starting out the fight week where he like was very intense, got into it with me in that interview. And he's like, bro, how'd you keep your composure? Like, how'd you stay calm? How'd you not get angry? Because Angel was pretty amped up, to be honest, in that interview. But, you know, it was kind of icy for the next year and a half between me and Angel after that interview. You know, Danny was a good sport about it. I saw Danny at a charity basketball game. That interview happened in September of 2013. I saw Danny at a charity basketball game either in December of 2013 or January of 2014. And I remember I went into the locker room. They was changing. This was like one of the Watsons charity basketball game. I actually got a chance to interview Floyd after he got out of jail at that charity basketball game. It was the first interview I think he did, the first time he addressed the media when he got out of jail. And Danny just looked at me and just laughed. He's like, hey, you're the guy that my dad yelled at. And I was like, oh. And he's like, hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, I think that interview is like hilarious. Like I watch it all the time and I just laugh. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, it's a funny interview. If you guys haven't seen it, you haven't checked it out, go on YouTube and just put my name, Marcos Villegas, Angel Garcia, and you'll see it's about a 3 to 4 minute interview, but things go really, I don't want to say things go south, but things get pretty intense on Angel's part pretty quickly. We start saying like, I'm asking stupid questions and why am I asking this? And, you know, Argentinians speak Valentino. And yeah, he starts going into all sorts of stuff. So I would say those were the two most memorable interviews. Larry Liston, without guys like Teo Sr. and Angel, boxing would be boring. It was a good interview. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, no, this sport, you know, here's the weird thing about this sport. It's very true. You know, the sport like lacks personalities. And when you say like personality, guys that are like interesting, that just say, I don't want to say wild shit, because there is a limit of like some of the stuff you say and whether it's appropriate or not, obviously, you know, but the sport needs engaging characters, engaging personalities that are putting themselves or their guy out there, obviously in a tasteful way, in a way that's not like demeaning, degrading at all. But no, yeah, definitely like those two guys are characters. And this sport, boxing's always been a sport that's had the most interesting freaking characters, bro. And like, here's the other like funny thing about boxing. It's like, it's the only sport, like professional sport, honestly, okay, that you don't need a college degree. You don't even need a high school degree. And you're in these positions that normally, if like someone were to have that same position, like parallel to you in like football, world football, you know, basketball, they would have like a master's degree, like they went to Yale, you know, and it's like, oh no, this guy's my homie. I gave him a job. He's now my VP of my company. Or like, no, this guy's my homie. He's now my advisor. And you're just like, what? How? What kind of like background is he knows me, you know? It's, this sport is so, sport's so weird, man. Honestly, boxing is such a weird freaking sport. Let's get to some more of your questions. Hey, let me know what's up, guys. Go ahead and hit the like button. Share this as well. Impromptu chat. Anything you guys want to talk about? Anything in particular? Go ahead and let's see it in the comments section. I'm going to scroll through here. Get an interview with Rolly, says Larry Liston. Yeah, tomorrow, actually, we're supposed to get an interview with Rolly with a few other guys, Caleb Plant. I'm going to try to do like an in-depth sit-down with Rolly, kind of like we did before his Pitbull Cruz fight. I think we titled it like Rolly Unfiltered. So I hit him up, actually. He hasn't. After this, I'm going to follow up with him again. If not, I'm going to mention it to him tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get that for you. Jojo Fausto, listening from Gilroy, California. Great interviews, G. Appreciate that, Jojo. Go ahead and hit the like as well. Alex, Rolly would be a good interview. I'm going to go ahead and try to get that. Eliseo, what are your thoughts on the first round 60-second knockout of Kermel Moton? We have an interview that I haven't packaged yet that we did with Richard Schaefer speaking about Kermel. And, he brought up some interesting things. Like one, and I think I'm going to use this as a quote as the video, is that he pretty much said like, hey, Kermel is going to be like the next Canelo. Like he sees a lot of Canelo in Kermel. And that like, hey, this guy's going to be a star. He has a star quality. He has a style that's eye-pleasing. He's only 18, 17 or 18. Like this guy has star written all over him. And you got Floyd pushing him, which obviously that's going to help a lot. The guy that he was in there against finished. Like here's the thing. Like yes, the at this point of his career, he's going to get people that he's supposed to look good against. And he's supposed to get out of there, knock him out. But what's very apparent just by looking at him, regardless of who the opponent is, the guy is powerful and he's very packaged for a guy who's only like 17, 18 years old, honestly. Like he's ahead of the curve in terms of other people in his age group at that level. So, a lot of potential, but he's still in the building phase. So, he passes a lot of things on the eye test. But let's, I say this with everything. Let's, take a step back, let him develop. Don't put too much pressure on him. Don't put too much expectations on him. Let him grow. He's going to get matched the way they're going to match him, and they're going to, bring him up, hopefully, the right way. And let's see how he blossoms, really. Let's say 100%, Marcos. Thank you, bro. Venom, what's up, man? Marcos, what did you think of the Virgil fight? How did you have it scored? That was a tough one. I'm going to be honest. It's a tough one because this is how I see it. Watching it live is different than watching it at home, where you have multiple angles and all that. But me watching it live, it's a weird thing because the way you see a fight might not necessarily be the same way a judge sees a fight in terms of that Ortiz versus Bohacek fight, okay? So what is a judge that's ringside, that this is their job, looking for when they score a fight? They're looking at punches that are the most damaging. That's what they're looking for, okay? That's the most important thing when scoring a fight. That's known as effective punching. Punches that are power punches, effective punches, power punches. A jab is not seen, it can be seen as an effective punch, but it's not seen, as a power punch. So when you think of that fight overall, think of it as a whole. Through the 12 rounds, who was the guy that was landing the bigger power punches? If you're looking at it through the lens of a ref, you're going to want to say Virgil, okay? That he landed the bigger punches. So I think that's why the decision went the way of Virgil, to be honest. But when you look at who was more active, who seemed to be landing more punches, even though maybe the refs didn't feel that the punches that Bohacek landed were as effective, and when I say effective, aka as damaging as the ones Virgil landed, then it becomes a different fight. Though I know fans, a lot of people online felt that Bohacek won. And I feel that's how the refs saw that fight. When you look at it, like the way Virgil was throwing the punches, the way he was landing some of those punches, they had more effect. As a ref watching ringside, they'll be like, damn, Virgil's throwing everything into these punches and he's landing. Okay, Bohacek landed, boom, 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 boom. Oh, nice. So it's like, okay, were those 4 punches that Bohacek put together more damaging than that one hitter quitter that Ortiz landed? And you got to think, no, but I feel that's why the judges scored that fight the way they did ringside, to be honest. Virgil lost, says Hood Gauge. What's up, Hood Gauge? Everyone, let's hit that like button, everybody. Let's get the likes more up in this. But, man, that was a close fight, honestly. That was a close fight. I'm going to be honest. I expected Virgil to win that fight. I thought Virgil was going to knock out Bohacek. It's just Bohacek gets hit a lot, and I didn't think, given Virgil's power at 47, that he'd be able to to take those punches from Virgil at 54. Now, the thing is when a guy moves up to a different weight class, sometimes that power doesn't translate, or those guys are able to take those punches a lot better. So, we don't know yet. We don't know if it's one or the other. If it's, okay, these guys are bigger, they could take Virgil's punches a lot better, or he moved up in weight, and because the guys are bigger, the power's not translating as well for Virgil in these fights. But, hey, man, this 154-pound division is stacked like crazy, yo. Like, you got so many good guys there. And you know what? Regardless of what happened, that was with Bohacek, that was a win for him in a loss, because now people want to see him. Now we all know more about this guy. We know, like, look, he upset Mendoza. He went in with Virgil, gave like a fight of a year type performance. We want to see this guy fight because he's going to give us an entertaining fight. Like, that loss for Bohacek did more for him than anything, to be honest, because now he's in demand. People want to see him in the ring again. You got Crawford at 54. You got Matrimov at 54. You got Tim Tszyu at 54. You got Mendoza, Fundora, Spence. That's 6 people there. I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody else at 54, but that division is stacked with a lot of talent. Thing is, though, and I don't know if any of you guys touched about this on the comments, and I hope I'm wrong about this, just some of the rhetoric that I've been hearing, the language coming from Turkey and Canelo, makes me a little bit worried that we're entering kind of like a Cold War, where it's like Canelo versus Turkey, in terms of like, yo, if these fights are happening over here with PBC, they're not going to be, our fighters aren't going to go over and do fights with Turkey and Riyadh season, and like, especially with the Canelo situation, where he's telling Turkey, like, hey, I make the terms, I'm the money guy, I'm Canelo, you don't tell me what to do, which it's understandable, honestly. I think anybody in Canelo's position, regardless of what you think who he should fight or not, if you're the man and then someone comes in and starts dictating to you how things should go or should not go, you're like, yo, bro, no, you tell me what to do. Like, get out of here. So I understand that perspective from him, but it gets me worried that now some of these fights, it's like the same thing all over again. It's like the people that are partnered up with Riyadh season on one side, and then Canelo and the rest of the people on the other side. And it's just like, oh, man, I hope we're not going through another boxing Cold War where it's like the same thing, like, oh, he fights for Riyadh season, that fight can't happen because we don't deal with those guys. Even though we saw Andy and Jarrell, Rayo and Pitbull, but I've read some things that they're not going to be sharing fighters anymore. I hope I'm wrong, and I could be wrong. And Twitter too, that's the other thing. When you read something on Twitter, nowadays I always have more than a pinch of skepticism in there when I read that. The crappy thing is like there's no one that you can reach out to that can confirm these things. It's not like we can directly ask like Al, like, hey, because he just doesn't do stuff with the press. But I really hope it's not headed to that direction where it's kind of like they fight for Turkey and Riyadh. We're not dealing with them. We're doing our own thing, because like really, like, who's left for Canelo? Honestly, guys, let me know in the comments who's left for Canelo. It's like after Berlanga, like who else can they make a fight with? It just, there's just no one there, really. Charlo, the big Charlo, but he needs some wins. I feel like fights with Jamal, Charlo, and Caleb is more enticing, and other people, like a Caleb Plant rematch, it could happen, but I feel that Caleb should probably go fight Berlanga, Munguia, Charlo, and then head into a rematch. I think that would sell it a lot better. Hannibal, the obvious match, Benavidez, yeah. Alex, a Plant rematch, yeah, but in order for that Plant rematch to be, like, that Plant rematch had a lot of hype behind it for a few factors. One, Caleb was undefeated. He had a perception that he had a very difficult style for Canelo, a style that Canelo struggled with historically against other opponents. And then I think what really set the fan base on fire with that matchup, with the build-up to that matchup, was the slap. When Caleb Plant went up to Canelo, slapped him, he got slapped back. that generated a lot of hype and heat for that fight that carried into the promotion, into the buildup of that fight. It's just the right set of circumstances at the right time. You know, it's hard to recreate lightning in a bottle twice. You know, so I feel like for them to go into a rematch now that Canelo and Caleb are homies, there's a lot of respect there between them, friendship there. You know, I know there's still a competitive edge between them, especially with Caleb, covering Caleb for as long as I've covered him, and knowing, like, I know he wants that rematch. In order for them to build up into something like that, like Caleb needs, I feel, needs to get some big wins. This McCumbee fight, the September 14th, let's see what he has, but I think he still needs another, like a Charlo to get like a big type of performance, type of win against someone like that to go into another Canelo rematch at this point. Canelo versus Mbili, oh my God. That'd be violent, man. I don't think Mbili is at that point yet. Here's the other weird thought I've been thinking about this, and let me know if you guys agree or not. Keep hitting those likes also as well. I wish I could do like polls on this thing. This is like, I'm doing this on the mobile feature, so it's a little bit different than doing it on my desktop, and I wanted to try out this Rode microphone. That's why I went here on mobile as well. But so I was thinking, okay, you know, all these guys lately that have gone Canelo fights, you know, just looking at from the outside, when some of these matches got announced, my first initial thought was, he's not ready yet. He's like 2 years away from that fight. He's like 3 fights away from that fight. Like, I would have preferred this amount of time to get that fight. Obviously, like, if you get offered a Canelo fight, you're not going to say no to it. You know, and here's the reason why, because, you know, I've asked managers about this type of scenario before, like, hey, you know, okay, clip the mic on my shirt. I will. Let me get through this thought. Let me know if the audio is still good or not on this also, guys. So the thought I was getting to is a lot of these opponents aren't there yet in order to challenge Canelo, okay? And if I ask managers about this too, like, hey, why didn't you wait for this certain type of fight? Like, your guy was going to keep on winning. Why didn't you wait for 2 years for this fight? And a majority of managers that asked me that situation, because I always think about the Fernando Vargas, Tito Trinidad situation, where he's like, he's way too young. I actually talked to Fernando's manager and asked him this question too about that. Like, why'd you guys take that fight? He wasn't ready yet. You guys should have waited a year and a half, 2 years. Like, Fernando was going to keep on winning. You know, like, look what happened. So what they tell me is, one, when are we going to get that chance again? When are we going to get that type of payday again? You know, like, if you have a golden opportunity put in front of you, why are you going to pass it up? And my response was, well, if you keep winning, your guy will get that opportunity again. Like, in sport, if you keep winning, you will get that opportunity again. There's slight feedback. Okay, let me know about the feedback. What type of feedback also with the audio? You'll keep winning, and you'll get that opportunity at some point. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, each of these fights could be their last fight. So we really don't know if we're going to get that opportunity, because we can get in a fight with, like, you know, just some guy, and not some guy, but like some opponent, and something really bad can happen. An injury can happen that prolongs my fighter, puts him on the shelf. Not prolongs, but puts him on the shelf. He can end up getting hurt, knocked out, ends up taking damage. It could end up being his last fight. So why are we going to do that? Why are we going to chance that? If we get the opportunity to go into a fight like that, we're going to take it. And it makes sense. It makes sense because, like, look, he's right. You know, how many times have we seen, like, upsets with fighters? And, you know, fighters are always coming into fights injured too, you know, or you know, there's been tragic instances like Magomed, where, you know, or Pritchard Colon, where you think, you know, it's just a normal fight and then end up damaged for the rest of their life. So, like, I understand that reasoning. So going back to my point, though, it's like, okay, it's all these young guys that Canelo's been fighting, or potentially fighting. You know, Berlanga, I think a lot of people would agree, he's experience-wise, he's not there yet to get to the level of a Canelo. If everything was all flowers and roses, you'd want to wait 2 years for a Berlanga to go into a Canelo fight. Same with Munguia. Get 2 more fights under Freddie, even though he switched with Eric Morales, for him to get ready for a Canelo fight. And Billy, another guy, he's not ready yet for Canelo. He needs maybe like a year and a half, 2 years to be able to compete and give a good fight, I feel, against Canelo. But it made me think, man, damn, there's not a, like, because of this system, it's hard to develop stars. Because, okay, Canelo's coming in and knocking off these young guys that could end up being stars if they had a little bit more time to develop. And it's like, okay, it goes back to like, hey, is the sport really building stars? Are they able to build stars at this point? And it's so faceted. It goes into so many different levels in terms of like, well, putting on competitive fights, the O doesn't matter, having a promoter that'll promote you and build you up, getting the right fights. There's so many layers to it, but just a random thought that I had is like, dang, man, like I think it's apparent with like Canelo, because a lot of these matches, people are saying like, hey, obviously we want the Benavidez fight, but it's like lacking, I've heard from the comments, star power of the other side. And it's an interesting thing to see, like, when Canelo leaves. Obviously, I think it's very apparent when Canelo leaves, it's going to be Tank who's going to be the guy that carries boxing for the next few years, amongst other fighters, potentially Shakur, potentially Ryan, potentially Devin. So I think, once Canelo steps out, it's not going to be that much of a vacuum, because I think Tank's already stepping in to fill that vacuum that could potentially be made. But I'm curious to see like what other stars the sport is able to build out. If there's anyone that you think could potentially be a star, let me know in the comments below as well. I think one guy that potentially has a lot of potential, a lot of promise is Emiliano Vargas. I can see him really being a big star in boxing. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He needs to keep winning. They need to keep building him. And I think, Top Rank's really good with matchmaking. They have some of the best matchmakers in all the sport. They're doing an excellent job with Emiliano. Let's see here. Abdullah Mason, another guy. Yeah, you're right, Jay. That's right. Eliseo, yeah. Vargas too, says Chris. Javel, Berlanga could be a star. There's a lot riding on this performance with Berlanga. He still can be a star if he comes out kind of like Bohacek. If he comes into this, here's the thing. Okay, look, not a lot of people are picking Berlanga to win the fight. Okay, it's Canelo. All right, more experience, Canelo. People would say more skills, Canelo, higher IQ, Canelo. But there are things there that Berlanga brings to this fight that things can go really, really wrong for Canelo if he's not at 100%. He's coming in this fight 100%. And here's the other thing too. I've noticed when an opponent trash talks Canelo, it doesn't go well for them. it goes south real quick for the opponent, because Canelo starts unleashing that Mexican beast. I was born ready part of him. But some of these factors that Berlanga brings into this fight, like Berlanga's a big guy, hard punch, he's young, and he's coming into this fight hungry, man. When I did that interview with him, I don't know if you guys checked out the interview, has I think about 100,000 views on it right now. If you haven't checked it out, just type in Edgar Berlanga Fight Up TV, and it'll come up. It's on our channel page right now as well, as the main piece of content on the landing page of the channel. But like, looking into the dude's eyes, like, I could tell, like, yo, like, this guy is putting 1,000 into this. Like, he's not coming in to like lay down. Like, he's not coming into the mentality like, oh yeah, Canelo's gonna beat me, I just want to like have a good fight. Like, he's coming into like, yo, I'm either knocking this dude out or he's knocking me out, and he's not gonna knock me out. The one like takeaway from that interview was that, like, yo, dude, Berlanga is not playing around like whatsoever. Let's go. There will be nothing like Trinidad versus Vargas. Says Guillermo. Tito had respect from everywhere. Very true, man. Very true. Let's go ahead and get some more likes. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Like I had mentioned earlier, testing out these mics. Someone said I was getting a little bit of feedback. That person that said they were getting some audio feedback, what type of feedback were you hearing? I'm going to listen back to this as well to see. But hit that like button. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I want to go ahead and try to do these lives a little bit more with you guys that have supported us over the years and continue to support us. just overall, I want to be closer to you guys, closer to the community, and go and speak to you guys. I think eventually I'm going to try to do like a Fight Hub Discord, where I'm going to open it up to maybe like 50 people, and we're just, as a way to like just talk about fights, and maybe do some sort of like community type thing. Like I'd love to do like a community watch party, like live at a physical location, but I'm always at the fight, so it makes it like a little bit hard to go ahead and do that. Idaho, what's up? Jay says, Shushu, Keyshawn, and Kermel are great young fighters. God's Champ, what's up, my man? Go ahead and hit that like. Colonel Berto, go ahead and hit that like. Chicago in the house. Miami, no feedback. It's too close, so it pops. Okay. All right. Cool. Now I know not to be too close then with the mic. Thank you for that. Like I said, I'm still trying this out. I tried to lower the decibel level on it, and it was still kind of peaking a little bit, but thanks for that, Eliseo. Minneapolis, home of Morrell and Jamal James. Chris Ruiz, dude, you guys in Minneapolis, running joke, people give me ish calling it the East Coast. But the Armory over there in Minneapolis, I wish they would put on more fights over there at the Armory, because that venue for boxing is an amazing venue. Honestly, probably one of the best venues for boxing in the United States. I want to say the Armory in Minneapolis, and the Forum is one of them here in Southern California, and the Dignity Health, where Pacheco is actually fighting over the weekend. Yeah, if you guys are in California, LA, Southern California, there's a fight this weekend, Diego Pacheco. It's a matchroom fight. Eddie Hearn's supposed to formally announce Shakur in a press conference this week too, as well. But man, Minnesota is a beautiful place when it's not snowing. It snows like crazy over there. Upstate New York, what's up? Miami, what's going on? Let's read some of these comments. Hit the likes, guys, and go ahead and share your comments, anything you always want to talk about. I'm sorry, but Edgar Berlanga has nothing on Canelo. That fight should not be happening. This is supposed to be David Benavidez' fight. I'm disappointed in Canelo. A lot of fans share that sentiment, man. Like, just at this point, it's like Canelo's going to fight who he wants. He's his own boss, and you can't really, regardless if you think he should be doing one thing or the other, he's going to do what he wants to do, because he's put in a position to go ahead and do that. But he's working in the confines of a system that did that to him before as well. It's the same thing with Floyd. Floyd pick and chose who he wanted to fight. Oscar pick and choose who he wanted to fight. Roy Jones Jr. pick and choose who he wanted to fight. I'm not saying it's right. It's a sport. I still feel like with combat sports, like number one should fight number two consistently, like other sports. But boxing is a little bit different. The economics are different. The structure is different. It's not there's no central administration that's mandating these things. So, this is what we get. And I guess the way that you could put your message across to these fighters is, one, keep bringing it up. Two, if you don't like that's with anything. If you don't like a certain product, don't go ahead and buy it. I'm certainly not telling you guys to not buy this pay-per-view, to go buy this pay-per-view. Doesn't matter to me. I have to cover the fight and work it. But just keep in the comments and all that expressing your opinions over whatever fighter who you feel they should be fighting. They check and they listen. Trust me, they check and they listen. How to rickroll someone. That'd be hilarious. I actually thought about doing an April Fool's joke where I was going to announce that I was going to shut down Fight Hub. And then I was going to make a speech, be like, hey, thank you guys for, sticking by us for so many years. But, I'm going to go ahead and do something else. And then I was going to roll the Rick Astley and Rick roll everyone. Still might do it, but now I kind of ruined the surprise for everybody. UK, what's up? Ben, what's going on? Hey, I am looking for a correspondent in the UK. I need a correspondent in London to help us out, get content, and do interviews. So if anybody's out there listening to us that's from London or lives in the London area, hit me up on fightuptvbusiness@gmail.com for that as well. Fight Hub, 80. What's up, man? 80 Ahmedi. Let's see here. Fight Hub, you're the most well-spoken Hispanic. Okay. When will you translate for press conference? I don't know what he means by that. Like me translating press conferences? Can't do that, man. That issue is very hard. It's extremely hard. And I'm working the Fight Hub stuff. Like I can't, you know. Abraham Rios, El Paso. What's up? What's up, El Paso? What's going on? Did we already talk about the Mayweather fight? I touched on it a little bit, but yeah, we could touch on the Mayweather fight. What'd you guys think about the Mayweather fight? Okay, look. Here's one thing that like I think we all should like know. All right, Floyd's retired. All right, these aren't real fights. These aren't pro fights. Okay, he's retired. So like these are exhibition fights. So like it's an exhibition fight. It's like they're meaningless. He's out there having fun. So I see like a lot of people in the comment section and the content that we post, but the content that other people post on that fight, like, oh, Floyd's disgracing himself. Why is he doing this? Yada, yada, yada. And it's like, bro, it's an exhibition. It's a meaningless fight. It's not a pro fight. He's doing it for fun. Like, if you want to watch it, that's fine. If you don't, that's cool. Like, it was on pay-per-view, you know. There's ways around that. If you want to watch it, pay your $40. Now, here's the thing. People are also saying, like, hey, how are people going to see, you know, Floyd against this guy? Like, I'll be honest, like, Gotti looked, like, terrible. Gotti looked terrible, like, bad, like, really, really bad. It's funny, like, Chavez Sr. in the interview that he did with Azteca after said, like, hey, I could have probably put on a better fight. And honestly, he probably could have at like 60. How old is Chavez Sr.? Any of you guys know? How old is Chavez Sr.? I think he's like 65 or 60. But, you know, hey, Floyd was like letting his hands, like putting his hands together on it. It was Gotti. Gotti was the one that wasn't throwing anything, honestly. You know, if anyone should be the blame about how, like, just bleh that fight was, it's Gotti, bro. Like, come on. Like, you're a young cat. You're a young guy. Like, Floyd's almost 50, dude. You can't put punches together? Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. So, but the other point I was getting at, I saw on a lot of the comments, how are people still paying to see this? And it's like, Floyd's never fought in Mexico. If I didn't do this, and if I was still a fan, okay, and especially if I was a Mexican fan, and I'd seen Floyd fight all these Mexican fighters, you know, Marquez, Jose Luis Castillo, Oscar, just all these fights that he's had, okay? Always watch these fights on TV. Never had a chance to see him live or even be in person or around him because I live in Mexico. And now he's having an exhibition. Honestly, I don't care who it is. I don't care who. He could be fighting the taco guy across the street. I wouldn't care because me as a boxing fan, I want to say like, hey, you know what? I got to see Floyd Mayweather in person. Yeah, it's not a Floyd in prime, but I got to see him. It's like when these 80s bands, okay, have reunion tours or start playing, you know, and they're washed. They're like 60 years old and they're just washed and they're playing. Like, we want to go see them because nostalgia. And that's a powerful thing for us as fans of anything, is the nostalgia forces us to take out our wallets and pay for things because we want to be reminded of the things that we enjoyed growing up. So as a boxing fan, when people say that, I'm like, honestly, I would still go watch Floyd if I didn't do this. Even if it was a fight that was here, like when he fought Logan Paul. I wanted to see that fight because, I don't know, I found it intriguing. Like, this guy's like 200. Honestly, I wanted to see Floyd piece up Logan, like, because at that point I didn't have a very favorable opinion of them. Now it's completely changed. I like Logan a lot now, given what's happened since then. But it's the same thing, man. If you're a fan of someone and they're having an exhibition, any sort of concert, you're going to go ahead and want to see them. Armand, I would pay if Mayweather risked his own. That's the thing. He's retired now, bro. He's retired. He's not going to do that. So that's the thing. I think a lot of these criticisms towards him, they're unwarranted because these aren't real fights. These are exhibitions. These are a chance, one, for him to get paid. He's doing very well getting paid. But two, it's a chance for fans who didn't get a chance to see him in his prime, didn't get a chance to see him when he was active, to be able and go and see him, man. That's what it's. I feel that's what it's about. Like that would be the appeal to me as a fan. I'm a super fan. You know, I don't know if I'm making sense here or not. Let me know in the comments. But you know, you let me know. Mayweather fought for laundry change. I don't know, bro. I don't know. That Bola Casino was a sponsor of that event, so I think they paid Floyd very, very well. Let's see here. Saul, what's up? Viegas, what's up, man? Go ahead and hit that like for me. I legit think Floyd can come back and win another world title. He's 47 now. He weighed in at I want to say 158 on the scale when they weighed in. So he's naturally around like probably like 162. Like this thing, when Floyd competed, he was a natural welterweight. But you look at the guys who are at welterweight right now. Could he beat a Mario Barrios for a 147-pound title? I don't know. At 47? Could be a good chance that maybe he can. You know, look at the other. Who are the champions at 47? Let me go ahead and look it up right now. I don't know. He can maybe break another record. Boots, obviously, at 147. And that's a fight that, oh, my God, imagine a fight. Floyd coming back out of retirement to face Boots. Would never happen, but dang, that'd be tremendous. Boxing champions list. Let's see here. Let's list all the welterweight champions. Welterweight 147, WBO vacant, right? Drawn Ennis, IBF. Oh, this is an old list. Brian Norman is the WBO interim. Imantas Stanionis, WBA regular. WBC, I thought it was Barrios. We've seen Manny coming back. So, River Rat, I love your YouTube channel. Appreciate it, man. Love that comment. Go ahead and hit the like. Let me know if you guys think that Floyd can come back and beat some of these guys, the champions at 147. Let me go ahead and try to find another more recent list. This is from August. Okay, here we go. Welterweight. Okay, WBA. That's the thing. They're still listing Terrence as the WBA champ. He's not. It's Stanionis. That's vacant. WBC Barrios. IBF Jaron Ennis. WBO Brian Norman. Rings vacant. So, okay. So if Floyd were to come back and fight a Barrios, I think a lot of people would favor Floyd against a Barrios, to be honest. Floyd against Jaron Ennis, it's a little tougher. Brian Norman, I know he had a big win. I don't know much, honestly, about Brian Norman Jr. I know him and Teo were kind of going at it. People were saying, like, hey, that fight was offered to Teo and something happened. If you guys know, let me know in the comments section what happened with that Norman and Teo situation. Mayweather versus Tank would make money, yeah. And I think, honestly, Tank would take that fight. A lot of bad blood there on Tank's side with Floyd, to be honest. Floyd versus Bud Bro. Oh, man, that would be amazing. I don't know if it would ever happen, but that would break records, man. That would be a super crazy fight. And if there's one fight, I guess, that I'd want, well, two fights. If Floyd were to come back, that's the thing, he's at 68 now. If Floyd were to come back and try to fight Canelo Alvarez, that'd be huge. That would be over 1 million pay-per-view eyes with that. Floyd versus Bud Crawford would be freaking tremendous. That would be a crazy freaking fight, man. Wow. Who would you guys... This thing, Floyd's 47, but like... That's the thing. Like, Floyd was at such a high level. That gap between Floyd and everyone else, like, with age, that gap comes back down and it starts evening itself out. But you have a guy that's in his prime, in his peak, in Terrence, with a guy that's been out of the ring for so long, you know? Like, we can dream, right? That would be a hell of a fight, a hell of an experience, a hell of a build-up. Now, Floyd is 47, 10 years older than Crawford. Crawford, I believe, is 37 years old, but that would be freaking crazy, man. Why are we putting 47-year-old Floyd in fights when we can't even get the active champions to fight? No, someone just asked, like, imagine... not imagine, but they felt that Floyd could come back and beat some of the current welterweight champions. And I went through the list, and then someone mentioned in the comments, imagine Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather, like as a pay-per-view, you know? That is evil low-key. Floyd versus Fundura at 54? No. Let's see. Would you go see Michael Jordan play in an exhibition game if he was playing right now? It's not the same as seeing him playing during the mid-'80s and 90s. Yeah, but if a hell of a lot of people would go see him play again, that's for sure. If he were announced for one night only, a Lakers versus Bulls exhibition where Jordan is starting, that would sell out, bro. Who wouldn't want to see Jordan, even at this age, go and play again against LeBron? Are you kidding me? Come on, dog. I always, you know what? It's free money for anyone who's listening. I don't know like why other sports don't do like these types of exhibitions, like the other one-on-one sports, or even like a one-on-one basketball type game. Like imagine like for tennis, for instance, if you were to put like the current tennis, I don't follow tennis, but if you put like the current number one against like a tennis legend, like a Sampras or a Nadal or someone like that, and put it on pay-per-view, I think a lot of people would want to see that. Same with the women as well. You know, imagine putting a basketball exhibition with, you know, Jordan and LeBron, one-on-one, best of three, up to 20 points. Like, it'd be the biggest selling pay-per-view of all time. Like, people would want to see something like that, you know? So, someone says LeBron would get cooked. I don't know, bro. Jordan's kind of old. He was, what, in his 20s and the 90s? 2000s? That's, he's in, what, he's late 50s is Jordan? How old is Jordan right now? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully someone loses an ear in the fight. Loyal Prince, big fan. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Go ahead and hit the like. CW, we need less gimmicks in boxing. Very true. Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao in an exhibition would be huge. Yeah, it would, but I think they tried to do that in Japan with Ryzen, and not much luck, to be honest. Loco Freestyle, he's already cooked. Who are you talking to? Who are you in reference to? Scroll through more of these comments. Hit the like, guys. Subscribe if this is your first time watching us. Just giving you guys a heads up tomorrow. We're going to be interviewing Rolly and Caleb again. Hopefully, I'm able to get like a sit-down interview with Rolly like we did the last time before his Pitbull Cruz fight. Bivol Beterbiev, who you got? That's a tough one, man. Who do you guys have in that fight? 61 is Michael Jordan. Okay. Bivol Beterbiev, who do you guys have in that fight? It's, you know, it's power against speed and technique in that fight. And the only thing that worries me in that fight, I could see one or the other like happening. Like, it would not be surprising me if Bivol uses his speed. Like, I'm a big speed guy, you know, and like when someone has the speed advantage and with like good power, it doesn't have to be knockout power, but good, decent power, I always tend to kind of want to favor them because speed's just, in terms of boxing, speed is such a big advantage to have over an opponent. Especially if you have the footwork, good footwork, good base, good fundamentals, you can move in and out. You know, you have such an advantage over an opponent that walks in straight lines and it's just kind of coming to you. Thing is, Beterbiev is a different power, and taking those shots over the course of 12 rounds in that pressure, you got to be so well conditioned if you're a Bivol coming into that fight. And I know a lot of people might say this in the comments, like, well, how is he going to use that power if he can't trap Bivol, if he can't catch Bivol? Very true. You know, but I think over the course of 12 rounds, at some point, like Beterbiev is tricky in the sense that he's a very, like, he places his shots extremely well and in between punches at times also. And I worry, really, it's going to be how well Beterbiev takes a punch of Bivol, okay? Because if Bivol lands a punch and Beterbiev respects it, it's going to be a long night for him because Beterbiev is going to be hesitant to pressure as much as he usually does. He's going to be thinking, hey, he's going to be picking his spots. If he can't, like if he doesn't respect the punch of Bivol, it's going to be a long night for Bivol. Bivol's going to have to move, clinch and hold. Hit and clinch because Beterbiev is going to be chasing him. He's going to be walking him down. He's going to be trying to break him down. And even if he doesn't hit him in the head, I have a sneaky feeling he's just going to be trying to go to the body and the arms, and just wear Bivol down, where we see like a very dramatic sequence of events in rounds 10, 11, and 12 in that fight. But let me know what you guys think about Beterbiev versus Bivol. Hopefully, I'll be going to that fight in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. Those Saudi fights, man, are brutal. They're brutal, man. Like I did a few where I went direct and like my sleep was wrecked. I wasn't going to bed till like 6 in the morning, waking up at like 1 in the afternoon. Yeah, I got to check in at 3 to the events. Like the media events don't start till like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. over there. We're working till like 2, 3 in the morning. Like it's a rough experience going over there and flying over there. It's an 18-hour flight from LA to get to Riyadh. Like I either have to go from LA to London, London to Riyadh, LA to Frankfurt, Frankfurt to Riyadh, or LA to Doha, Doha to Riyadh. It's 18 hours in total. And like, I'm not balling out, you know, I'm not flying in business. I'm flying in coach and, you know, Marcos is the working man, the regular man, you know. I'm about to spend $5,000. Kidding me, man? So it's rough because you never know who you're going to get paired next to. Like on my return flight from the last fight in Saudi Arabia, which one was it? The 5v5. Oh my God, what a terrible experience. Jesus. So I had this fat guy right next to me, had a medical emergency, but this dude was like, yo, like all in my space. I had to like turn like this. And like I told the attendant, I'm like, look, this is like an 18-hour flight. Like, look at this guy. You need to tell him, like, he can't put his arms, he can't be leaning into me. Then he has a medical emergency. Also, like, luckily they didn't go ahead and, oh, what's up? Thank you for the super chat there. I don't know if this is the real Southpaw, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let me finish the story and I'll get to that comment. He was having like shortness of breath. They didn't stop the plane. But they came over and he took his medicine and they gave him some blankets and they kept watching him or whatever. And I was like, oh, great. You know, just my luck. But like for a good part of that flight, I was like this. It's just, oh my God, to go through that experience. Like I've kind of done a system where if I'm going to go over there, I have to fly to London like 3 days before to kind of get acclimated so that when I get to Riyadh, it takes me like a day to acclimate. Yeah. It's terrible, JVL. Terrible, terrible. Bivol will be on his toes. 40-year-old Beterbiev won't be. Well, yeah, that's not Beterbiev's style is to be on his toes. Beterbiev's style is seek and destroy. It's like a Terminator. He's going to apply pressure on you physically and on you mentally. And he's going to go, try to cut the ring off, try to corner you, and land his punches in between your punches and break you down, chisel you like a water through a river. Little by little, until in the late rounds, he's able to get you out. That is if Bivol's able to take those punches. But from what we've seen, he's oh, wow. I think Beterbiev is the only guy left in boxing that has 100% knockout ratio, which is crazy to me. Wow. Virgil, yeah, went the distance. Tank, there's been a few guys he hasn't been able to knock out. I don't think anybody at the elite has a 100% KO ratio. This one will be interesting. That's for sure. This one will be interesting. Oscar Lanos, thanks for the great boxing coverage, dude. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for supporting. Go ahead and hit that like button for me, Oscar, as well. And subscribe. Anyone who's not subscribed to the channel that's tuning in, go ahead and please subscribe. Enrico, I'm broke. I can't afford to pay for a comment. Thanks, Biden. Dude, what do you mean? He shared a $2 super chat. Come on, we all got $2. There we go. Aquí viene otra. All right. Master Uguay, what's up, man? Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Big up. Let's big up Master Uguay. Give him likes, give him likes, give him hearts. Big ups to you, bro. Bivol is winning. Oh, wow. Okay, he's picking Bivol to win. The other dude is 40 already. Have y'all not been familiar with Canelo versus Tripoyi? Golovkin had slower performance, same situation. Few things. Beterbiev's been more active. When Golovkin fought Canelo at that point, he hadn't really been active. It had been a long time also as well for him. And, you know, let's see. Actually, I'm going to pull up his box rec. Was it more than a year when he had that rematch? We got another super chat. I'll get to that also as well. Thank you for that. GGG box rec. Let's see. I think he had a pandemic fight, did Golovkin. Or was it against like Steve Rolls or something? Okay. Oh no, he had fought Murata, but that was like a meow meow fight in Japan. And then he fought, yeah. So the last real fight that Golovkin had was that Derevyanchenko fight. That was 2019, okay? It's a fight many people thought Derevyanchenko won. On a side note, big ups to Derevyanchenko. Big ups to him, man. The guy has freaking balls of steel, man. Like, oh my God. The corner should have stopped that fight, honestly. There's no way he was going to win that fight with a ripped bicep. But Derevyanchenko, man, you a G. So Canelo and Triple G, all right? He's saying like, hey, this Bivol Beterbiev thing is going to be the same thing. Beterbiev's 40 years old. It's going to be like Canelo versus Triple G Part 3. Okay. Some backstory on Canelo versus Triple G Part 3. So in 2019, he fought Derevyanchenko. I was there. I thought it was a draw. With the knockdown, I thought Gennady won. A lot of people thought Derevyanchenko won. From that point, Gennady had a bubble fight, a COVID-type fight. It was against Sarametta in Florida in 2020. From that point to the Canelo fight, 2 years. In 2 years' time, he had 2 fights. No fights in 2021. And then he has a fight in Japan against Murata that April, and then he goes into a Canelo fight. So he wasn't as active. Beterbiev's, yeah, he's had injuries, but he's been active. He's been a lot more active than Triple G at that point, at the time of 40 years old. Beterbiev, let's see here. Last fight this year in January of 2024 against Callum Smith. Yes, it got delayed. If you look, 2023 had one fight only in that year. 2021 had one fight in only that year. Thing with Beterbiev is the injuries. But he has been active with very elite professional fighters in there. So I think it is a little bit different. But if you ask, who's the more dynamic fighter, who's the guy that has more tools in their bag, who's more versatile, who's more dimensional, you want to say Bivol because what he has. But really, the big question mark is always going to be the power of Artur Beterbiev. What's up, Ben? I appreciate the super chat. Ben Hinmarsh, I appreciate that, man. Let's give Ben a like here. Let's give Master Ogwe a like here for these super chats. Ben says, Martin Bakole versus Zhilei Zhang. Big Bang Zhang. Does that fight happen next for both fighters in China? Also, who does win that fight and why? I love that fight. I like that fight. That's a really good fight. I would think it does big business in China because you have a Chinese heavyweight that's really good, that's entertaining, and that knocks people out. And the Chinese machine, in terms of sports, will get behind him and push him to the people. So it'd be a big fight, and it would do big numbers in China. And if they get the government involved at all, they'll pay big bucks for that. So I think in terms of that, if they are wanting to market that next fight for him, it would make more sense in China. Now, does that fight happen next for both fighters? I don't know. No one knows. No one knows what's going on. I know Turkey did a tweet saying that he wanted to have that fight for both of them next. It makes no sense in Africa and Congo. China's the way to go for that fight. They'll come out. Like, I think Zhu Shiming, when he had his fights in China broadcast, like, it was a crazy amount of people. And I think with that knockout over Wilder, Zhilei Zhang had a crazy amount of people watching live in China, but also on social media. I remember they announced how many views it was on Chinese television and impressions on Chinese social media, and did some crazy freaking numbers for him. Who wins that fight and why? All right, chat. What do you guys think about that fight? I don't know who wins that fight, honestly. Bakole looked good, man. Bakole looked really good against Jared Anderson. Who do you guys think wins that fight, chat? Let me know. Give me your guys' insight. What do you think about the style between Bakole and Zhilei Zhang? Whoever lands first, says C-Dub. Yeah, man. Bakole's bigger and he has a longer reach. And I think he has a better work rate than Zhilei Zhang. So, I don't know. I'm going to ask a matchmaker, see what they think about that fight. But I think on paper, you might want to favor Bakole, no? I don't know. What do you guys think? Bakole wins, he got some more movement. See, yeah, that's what I was thinking about too. Yeah. I think, I'm playing the fight in my mind right now. And I could see Zhang landing the straights, but I could also see Bacoli's just work rate, just outworking Zhang, pushing him back. Dot, 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 dot. Tap, tap. Landing punches, Zhang moving. Landing a big one, moving. Holding. Really good fight. Stylistically, really good fight. But I would favor activity for Bacoli. But I do see him getting hit a lot with the lead left of Zhang. And if Zhang places it well, you could see him dropping Bacoli also in that fight. Right there, Jay Phantom, 305. Zhang lays him out. Oscar Lano, Zhang by KO. Yeah, Bacoli for me reminds me of a George Foreman, says Ben Hindmarsh. How so? Because he certainly doesn't hit like George Foreman. So let me know what do you see there that reminds you of a George Foreman with him? All right, guys, let's go ahead and hit those likes. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on social media at FightUpTV. Follow me as well. I need to build up my socials, honestly, on Instagram and on Twitter at Hey It's Marcos V. I need to build it up so I can be seen as influential, so I can get invited to stuff and get more interviews with people. So hey Marcos, are you friends with Ellie? Sure. Stevenson versus Cordina. I don't know a lot about Cordina, to be honest. Adrian, what's up? What's going on? Hit that like. Hit that like. So I've been on here for an hour now. I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I got to go pack, go to Vegas. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live, guys. But I'm going to try my best to do this once a week with you guys. Try my best to do it on have a set out schedule for you guys where it's like every Monday at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Marcus is going to do this live. I wanted to test out this little Rode mic to see how the audio was. Let me know too as well. Follow us at FightUpTV on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow me as well at Hey It's Marcos V on Twitter and on Instagram. We'll have content for you guys tomorrow with Rolly, with Caleb Plant, with Irislandy Lara. I'm going to put a post so you guys can submit your questions so I could get a chance to go ahead and ask your guys' questions. I asked a few of your guys' questions, actually, in that Caleb Plant interview. So if any of you guys are on here on the chat whose question I asked, because I actually shouted out your guys' handle in those questions, let me know as well. But hey, man, as always, thank you. Appreciate the time with you guys. We'll be back next week. I'll let you guys know as well. And if you're in London and you're watching this and you want to be a contributor, I need someone there that helps me do interviews and gets content. Reach out to us at fightuptvbusiness@gmail.com. All right. Peace out, guys. Thank you, guys. Peace out. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow with more content, more interviews with everybody. Take it easy, guys. Have a good rest of your week, man. Make it a good one.